All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we apologize for the technical difficulties on that. We were in such a great conversation there with Kevin Coleman for Orange County Soccer Club. Because of the technical difficulties, we allowed him to head on out because we didn't want to make him wait any longer to finish up the conversation. Luckily, we got through most of that conversation, so that was pretty awesome. We're now just sort of going to wrap things up on here. So once again, want to thank Kevin Coleman for joining us, taking time out of his evening to come and talk with us and let us know what was going on or what happened in the match and a little bit about his history as a soccer player and awesomeness. So again, thanks Kevin Coleman for that opportunity. Let's talk a little bit. Let's just wrap up our talk about the Tulsa match because with Kevin Coleman, we got to talk about the best part, which was that goal. Dylan, let me go to Alan because Alan, you were actually out of all of us, you were the one watching it like actually live there as it was going on. What are other than that Kevin Coleman goal, what else did you see in that match? Anything great or anything concerning?
I thought the defense held up pretty well again. I think Tulsa had a couple of looks. I think it was like 1 or 6 shots total, a couple on target. They really kind of held them. Like I said, if they can score 2, they'll win, but they only need to score 1 because I think the back line held up pretty well. The offense was a little bit frustrating. It felt there was a couple games ago where the ball kind of would sit in the middle of the 6-yard box, and then it felt like everyone was waiting for someone else to kick it in. While that wasn't like quite as obvious, it did have those moments of lots of really, really close, but nothing really clicking in the final third. In that last touch, nothing was really coming together to finish. But I mean, I think there was a Tulsa shot that went off the woodwork like 12 minutes before the end of the game or something like that. But other than that, I think the defense held up really well, which is always great on the road. If you can go on the road and shut out your opponent, you're going to pick up at least a point. And then to get that last-minute goal was so crazy. That usually happens to us. So to see it happen for us was a nice change of pace and a nice way to cap that game.
Perfect. Hey, what about you, Dylan? Any thoughts on that match?
Yeah, I mean, you got to grind out the really dirty results sometimes. If you look at Phoenix, because they're the cream of the crop this year, and actually through all the years of U.S. soccer now, not all of those results were big blowout victories, like their victory against Austin back in, I think, July, or really even their victory against us in June. They had a couple close wins. They narrowly beat out San Antonio. They narrowly beat out Vegas. And granted, they rotated their teams there, but not every game is going to be an easy 3-0 victory or 3-1 victory or 2-0 victory. This was the first time in, I think, 6 or 7 weeks that we hadn't scored at least 2 goals in a game. And we still got it done. And that's the key. Hopefully they can take some confidence moving forward. We've had issues with this early in the season where, like Alan said, the ball gets into the 6 and then no one puts it away and the players get frustrated and then it just shuts down from that point. Hopefully they can take some confidence and realize that if they just put their heads down and they keep going, they can pull out a result, and they can pull off something really special too. Because what a debut goal to get, right? Keeps your team's winning streak goes alive, and massive 3 points. I mean, we could be looking at this in a couple weeks, and
this could be like the win of the season or the match of the season or something.
Yeah, like that. I mean that could honestly be the victory that gets us to host a quarterfinal match, and that would be amazing. So,
yes,
it's a good confidence builder off of a weird and kind of frustrating match.
And while you gentlemen were speaking, and even at the beginning of the match, we do have the highlights playing on there, courtesy of USL Championship Productions. So thank you for that, USL. Can I say this? Patrick Due is amazing at punching the ball. That's what I said, right?
That's not his name.
Oh, wait.
How dare you? Wow, you are never speaking to him.
Frederick Due. It ends in a C.
Wow.
Or K.
No. Oh my God.
What am I messing up again?
No,
Oh
it
my
ends
God.
in a K, but neither
Okay.
Patrick nor Frederick end in a C.
I can't spell.
I feel so bad for him right now. I really hope he's not listening. I hope no one listens to this.
People are listening to
This
it. I
man gives
apologize.
us all these clean sheets, and the best you can do is first giving him the wrong name and then misspelling it.
Wrong misspelling name. I'm trying to give him props right now, and I'm totally butchering it. But
Smora
he's amazing.
out, everyone.
Hey, I have to have 1 or 2 mistakes an episode. He's amazing at punching the ball, which part of our excitement about this game is because he punched the ball away at an opportune time. I think I was talking, or we may have been talking that evening of the match, that if he catches the ball, I think the ref blows the final whistle and the game's over. But by punching the ball out, the ref is holding his whistle just to see if something big is going to happen. Because I think most refs, if something big is about to happen, they're not going to blow the whistle. They wait to see how it plays out. So by him punching that ball, because he could easily have grabbed it in the air. He was high enough, he could have done it. But by punching it, getting it to Michael Seaton, a play develops. The ref doesn't blow his whistle, even though he probably should have at that point. And we score the game-winning goal, which is freaking amazing. So I apologize for the wrong first name, Frederick, and the wrong spelling of your name. I will get it right. I will never mess it up again. I promise. But again, props to you, because smart play there, punching the ball out instead of grabbing it to hold it, because you gave it a chance for at least something to end the game there.
Just tell him you love him and then give him your firstborn. That seems like a fair trade.
But then Walker Hume's going to be upset at me, and I can't really do that. So
Walker Hume can have your secondborn.
Let's do this because we got Jacob just sort of sitting patiently out there in Texas, waiting to get into the RGV talk. Before we do that, let's just pick our man of the match for this match. I'll start off with Alan.
Kevin Coleman.
Dylan.
You can't pick anyone else. Debut winner, keeps the win streak alive. Everyone put in a big shift there, and we could give a lot of nominations to Frederick like we do every week, but it's got to be Kevin. Calm and composed.
And I'm going to do this. I agree with y'all. Pretty much you have to give it to Kevin, but I want to give an acknowledgement to Michael Orozco, because in that play, the veteran in Michael Orozco showed he could have easily gone one-on-one against the goalkeeper. He could have easily taken the shot and gone for the glory, but he held up a little bit. He let Kevin get into the action, and he basically gifted Kevin Coleman an easy goal there. That's the veteran presence of someone like a Michael Orozco out there. You don't expect that out of someone who is your center back, to be the one that's sort of dictating that play and giving a teammate an easy opportunity for that game winner. So yes, first career goal, a professional goal for Kevin Coleman. You got to say probably man of the match, but Michael Orozco is easily a second option for that, just the way that all played out there. So great job, gentlemen. 6 in a row. We're going to go for 7 in a row against a tricky opponent, I guess we could say. And I know Orange County is going to be short a couple of players because of yellow card accumulation. They're traveling out to the tip of Texas to play RGV. And that is the whole reason we brought in Jacob from Down in the Valley podcast to help us out. What is this now, Jacob? Is this your 3rd or 4th time with us?
I think 3rd time, because I only came on, I think, once last year. So, yeah, about the 3rd time.
That would make sense. I guess it's just been so amazing every time we have you on. It just seems like it's been 4 times. But we were talking again before we went live here that RGV's been a little tricky team there this season, where it seems like they waited until, in your words, they waited to get knocked out of the playoffs before they decided to start winning. Although I think Alan came on saying, hey, they still have a chance on this. What has the season been like for RGV, and what's been the disappointing part of the season?
Well, a lot for sure has been disappointing, and some have been good. And what I mean by that is we started off the season, or RGV FC, started off the season with the worst start in club history. Of course, given the fact that our club has not been around for that long. This is about our 5th year or so in USL. But to say so the least, the beginning of the season was not good. Then we went on a good roll. RGVFC went on a good roll of winning games. But then, of course, the summer World Cup break and all that happened. And so Jamaica took out one of our players, I believe, and then Houston decided to sell that player, and it was all a big commotion, and we could say multiple things of, yes, that really hurt us, and it did. But in the long run, our players at that point who were on the bench asking coach for a starting time or a starting spot didn't perform. And so then we went on another losing streak halfway through that year or this year. And then, well, leading up to now, we've gone win, loss, win. We had a chance to win Copa Tejas, and we couldn't secure that. And then, of course, we've had a lot of chances at home and on the road to win games and haven't done that either, because guess what? RGVFC averages around less than 6 shots on goal half the time. So that's not good one bit. And we all know your defense can only do so much. If your offense doesn't score, then you can't win.
I see Alan just sort of there nodding. If you're watching live, you can see he's just sitting there nodding. He, I guess, agrees with that. I messed up when I did talk about that RGV still, I guess, has a chance. Dylan was the one that had mentioned that. Thank you, Alan and Dylan, for correcting me on that. I mean, we're not doing the Samora out thing. I'm going to stay here. The whole technical difficulties has probably thrown me off. I'm going to mess up a bunch more because that's just stressful for me. I hate when we have issues like that. So with RGV struggles this season, Jacob, should Orange County expect a pretty easy match, and should they expect an easy 3 points, or is RGV still a tough opponent, and should we be worried about something out there in the tip of Texas?
Well, RGVFC, they are still a tough opponent. They will fight. It's not like they haven't been fighting, even though they've lost a lot of these games. Yes, given the fact that we did not play well on the road before Real Salt Lake and we came back home, I believe that was a Wednesday game. But of course, you give those Wednesday games a bit of a break in a sense, especially when you play on the road, considering you got two. Jerson Echeverria, if I'm not mistaken, rested a bunch of his starters. Now, one thing is for certain that they brought in Dynamo Academy players to RGVFC to play in the last home match. So that's something for new blood and something just to try out, I guess, for Houston to see what I guess down there, if they could make any sort of difference for maybe next season. So it's going to be tough for sure. Always, you come down here from, well, I don't really think, I guess dry heat to humidity in a sense is kind of different, because we all know it's hot in Orange County as well as it's pretty hot in Texas too. It's been 100 plus, and even though evenings are pretty nice, it's just, it's still pretty brutal. But yeah, either way, yes.
100 is nasty.
Yeah.
Especially for someone like Dylan who has no air conditioning where he lives. And I think Alan as well.
There's literally sweat dripping off of my face right now. I'm in a garage. I'm in a garage. My podcast studio is a garage with your new Lamborghini.
Shoot, I wish I had a Lamborghini.
I need to go get my fan from Saturday.
Dylan, Alan, any questions for Jacob before we talk really about the details of this match?
I don't think I have any questions. Wow. Yeah, I don't have any questions. I have a whole bunch of stats that I can bring up, but no questions.
Just throw out stats.
Is RGV prepared to play a 11-man Orange County? Would they prefer like the 9-man one from last time?
How many penalties are they planning on missing this weekend?
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, they're talking trash to you, Ed.
Oh, well, I mean, what do you expect?
He's not the one on the field.
It's the same way with, is Orange County ready to play an 11-man RGVFC team with one crazy guy on the team? Yes, of course, I don't want to attack him too much, but freaking Carlos Small, I can give you one thing with him. Let's see here. He's a hothead and decides sometimes not to really practice in practice, and so it shows. As in, he's missed opportunities, open goals, having chances to put it away. It seems like he's more focused, but the only problem is he's such a hothead that the last time that we played at, or not, not against Real Monarchs, but the time that they played at home before that, he got suspended right at the final whistle and tried to attack a Tulsa player. So, yeah, that's one guy that's just, he could be so much better, but his mentality is just off. Yes, of course, that's a player to look out for, but he might not even be starting, as he wasn't starting against the Real Monarchs. So kind of expect a lineup like in the front, at least, Nico Lemoyne, Chuy Enriquez, Kevin Rodriguez, and maybe Michael Salazar up front.
Anybody tell you that I miss practice?
What?
I was hoping it was going to be the right part of the clip for Allen Iverson. Practice. We talk about practice because you were talking about some guy that doesn't like to practice with the
Carlos
team.
Small. You can tell he wasn't listening. He was really hung up on this.
No,
audio.
I was listening. Hey, we're not a fancy radio station that has like this whole library of clips. All right, just a clip, push a button. I have to actually look up stuff. I have to make sure our stream is still going. I have to make sure audio is working, Dylan.
Yep.
You don't do what I do. You just sit there with no camera on and you just talk.
I get to talk a lot of trash because of that.
Probably in your tidy whities, just sitting there in your chair.
No, I'm in a pair of running shorts, but there's not that much of a length difference.
Let's talk about RGV against OC.
Can I
Alan,
get the stats? Oh, fine.
Dylan, give your stats. Dylan.
All right, these are thankfully compiled by Orange and Black Soccercast superfan Andy.
Hey, Andy. That might have to be an award category for this year's Orange Black Soccer.
Stat compiler? Well, he's really the only one that does it.
Or
so
like
RGV
listener of the year, maybe? I don't know.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. RGV over the last 10 matches, 2 wins.
Yep.
6 losses, 2 draws. Orange County is 7-1-2 over that same period of time. RGV is averaging 1.03 points per game this season, which is a slight decrease from last year where they averaged 1.12. That being said, in 2018, we dropped both of these matches to RGV, and they were poor then, and we were in really good runs of form both times it happened, and we got really complacent, and they just hunkered back and played defense, and we couldn't break them down, got frustrated, and gave up. And so we have to be really wary of that this time around. It's a similar situation where they're not quite out of the playoffs yet. I mean, I think 538 puts them at a 65% chance of finishing 15th, but they can still make other people's lives miserable. They can still play for a bit of pride and try and push for that last playoff spot, regardless of how unlikely it is. So we really have to be wary of them. And it's going to be complicated by Aiden Quinn missing from suspension and Harry Forrester missing from suspension. So it's going to be a difficult game, and we're really going to have to – it's going to have to be another 90-minute performance. 94-minute performance. Excuse me.
I got to ask, Dylan, were you did you have these stats that Andy just sort of provided you, or were you just reading off the comments from the YouTube stream?
Hilariously, I pulled them all up while Jacob was talking. Then Andy starts texting me each individual stat.
I almost fell out of my
and then
shirt.
Apparently he's also commenting on the stream. So we need to.
We just need to give him his official role as statistician, and he could just sort of message us as we're going through these podcast recordings, and he could just message everyone stats. Well, maybe you guys, because I don't get a chance to read a lot of that stuff sometimes.
Yeah, you're too busy working. Anyway, they might not be good statistically, but they basically have nothing to lose at this point. And we have everything to lose, so we still need to show up and try.
Perfect.
Also, thanks for your help, Andy.
Alan, what are your thoughts heading into this match against probably what many would consider a tough RGV team, especially when you're on the road?
I reached out to some USL folks like Tyler, Devin from Three Honest Lads, Mike Watts. Said, hey, what should Orange County be expecting? Are we happy with a point, or is it win or bust? And the descriptors were like pretty amazing. Mike Watts said it's hardly do or die, like what dreams do. What happens to dreams in Edinburgh, as in dreams die in Edinburgh. Tyler referred to RGV as USL's version of the Upside Down. I mean, RGV, you look at them and they have 8 wins, 7 of them are at home. I mean, that just speaks to, I mean, they held Phoenix to a goal in a 1-0 loss at home. It's going to be a tough place to go in. I think we need to go in there with, we're not going to go in there and score 3, 4, 5 goals and blow them off the park. It's just not going to happen. I think the last game in Orange County, they had a couple guys got sent down like right before game time from the Dynamo, or maybe the day before.
No, you're correct. It's always, well, technically it is a night before. They get told a night before, and then it's not released until like the morning. And
Right.
so, of course, chemistry happens, and well, then we start to play bad. So,
and so I think that 2-1 win, you can chalk some of that up to that. We were lucky to get ahead and then just play out of our minds with 9 guys throwing their bodies around the field to preserve that win. This is going to be another tough battle, another tough game. It's not going to be high scoring. I think that as Orange County, we need to, temper expectations a little bit. That way, if they do score a couple, we can be excited as opposed to, well, that's just what's going to happen. We need to be prepared to 0-0 at the end.
Let's all pause there for a second. Alan has no idea what's going on there. You froze for like 3 seconds there when you were talking, so pretty awesome. I do agree. Dylan on the chat is like, the Valley does have. What did you say, Dylan? I can't. It disappeared while I was
Bad juju.
Bad
That place
juju.
is freaking cursed. We seriously, it's bad news for everyone that goes there.
Here's what I'm going to say based off what Alan just said. Jacob, you should seriously propose that you guys change the name of your podcast to the Upside Down Podcast based on what Alan just shared with us, because that would be a pretty awesome name, and plus you'd probably get a bunch of Stranger Things fans thinking that it's a Stranger Things podcast, and then they hear you talking about soccer.
Surprise, USL Soccer!
It's much more interesting than whatever 80s fetish show Stranger Things is.
Hey, you know what? Shows that take place in the 80s are actually pretty awesome right now. There's a bunch of shows. Goldberg's one of them. Let's
Where's
do
the
this.
Miami Vice reboot? That's what we really need.
Oh yeah, that's what we need. Anything, Jacob, that you have that you want to ask of us as far as the way Orange County's been lately, or anything we can answer for you so you can share with your listeners or followers?
I mean, it seems like y'all have already answered the questions. Y'all are on a hot streak. I can tell that much. And of course, it's
Hottest
tough to
teams in the
play.
West. Hottest team in the West.
Hottest team in the West, according to always the strangest USL power rankings that always puts San Antonio ahead of anyone, no matter if, some other team in Texas is doing well.
I was going to
They
get to
always-
the power rankings. I was going to get to the power rankings in just a moment. So we could definitely discuss that, because I know a lot of my good friends in Phoenix are very upset about what the power rankings say. I could tell them go hang out, go chill with the butterflies, calm you down, and then you can come back out to the real world. Go ahead. Sorry, Jacob, for cutting you off.
Nah, it's all good. Just I guess my question would be, since of course you all will have 2 of your best players, I guess in the stands or at home in Orange County instead of going on that trip, who will be able to replace them? And do you think that the bench can really perform?
Dylan, so I'm going to ask you. There's no one that can replace Harry Forrest out there, correct?
No, there is. Giovanni Ramos Godoy statistically likes to take shots from distance and statistically finds the target about as often as Harry Forster. So I raise you from your subtle attempt to rile me up with a stats-backed answer that really says the same thing. To answer your question, Jacob, I think we could find a way to get it done. I think we have that quality. Aiden Quinn's going to be a big miss. I'm not sure we really have a player who fills that role the way he does. I'm not sure really any team in the league has a player that can fill that role the way that he does. That will be the biggest miss. Harry Forster, like I said, Ramos Godoy is a pretty good fit for that. So it's going to be interesting. But I think what we've learned over the last 6 weeks is that this team finds a way to get results, even when it's weird, and even when it's maybe a bit unpredictable, or the odds really aren't in their favor. They manage to pull something out of the bag. I mean, we got that last weekend against Tulsa, 94th minute, from a dude that hasn't scored ever in a professional match and hasn't scored in 2+ years in a competitive match, and then, keeps the win streak alive. So I think we can manage.
Well, let's just say, I mean, they're back to the Orange County Soccer Club of 2018, where earlier in this season, the ball wasn't bouncing the right direction for them. Anything that could have gone wrong went wrong for Orange County, whether it was injuries, last-minute goals, whatnot. And now they're back to the form that they were in 2018, where everything sort of goes right for them in those close matches or situations like we saw against Tulsa. Alan, I think you had something you wanted to throw in there as well.
Yeah, I think Christian Duke is going to play a big role. I think since he's come back, Orange County has looked like a different team. And I think sometimes he may or may not get as much love as he should for that. And I think this game he kind of proves or reproves his worth to a lot of people that he's a key component of this, the starting 11. I think he can step into, and I don't want to say take over Aiden Quinn, because I do think Dylan's right. I think that what Aiden brings is something special. But I think having him on the pitch is going to be fine to step into that. I mean, Aiden was on the pitch the whole time, but Forrester came off in the 83rd minute, which brought Godoy on. So, like what Dylan said, he knows that role. You're gonna have to move some folks around, but maybe that gives some of these guys who haven't been getting his starts, like a Crisostomo, a little bit more playing time. Crisostomo and Godoy getting on to fill in those roles. I don't think it's going to be a huge drop off. I think it's going to matter a bit, but I think that you got to hope those guys on the bench step up, and I think they can do it.
Well, I think the bigger part of that midfield is Christian Duke. He's probably that glue that makes everything stay together, and he keeps things going for this team. Aiden Quinn is an amazing talent, but I think Christian Duke, we learned early in the season when he was out with the injury, he's that piece that when he's in there, things seem to work out and things seem to go well for the team. We've seen that during this streak. He's been a key part of that streak, although his statistics don't jump out at you like an Aiden Quinn may, or even a Harry Forrester in the alternate version of how stats would jump out at you. Christian Duke just does his job. He makes things work, and he's like that player that does all the little things that you don't notice because you're just looking at the stats. So I don't know if in the Tulsa match he got pulled out because of a little knock or anything like that, but I think as long as he is, or if he picked up a knock or whatnot, I'm just hoping he's there. He's going to scare you guys, and hopefully Orange County keeps this winning streak alive. Maybe we go for 20 now.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I guess one thing that I will have to say is this: that if Orange County are able to get up a goal early, or just able to get up a goal, then it can really mess with RGVFC. I've seen that happen time and time again, where players will just get in RGVFC's head when RGVFC, of course, are down by a goal. That's the whole reason why, of course, Carlos Small has gotten a red card, because, of course, early-ish, I guess, or midway through the second half, when RGVFC got knocked down a goal, that's when Carlos Small, got annoyed. And that's when the team got annoyed, tried to play as hard as they could, and then just got more and more frustrated. So that's a way to do it is, of course, almost at any place is to score a goal early, but it's the mentality of just that's the way that culture is there. I've watched, of course, the youth academy play early in the mornings because I got a cousin that plays on that squad. And, well, it's the same way. They get down a goal. They try their hardest, but then they just get so frustrated that then they start to make silly mistakes like trying to get fouls and just get so frustrated that any little thing will just frustrate them from Orange County or someone like that. So it's not necessarily great. But
So
that's something that Orange County can do.
So there we go, Orange County Soccer Club, Coach Braden Cloutier, any players that may be listening, that's what you need to do, score a goal early and get under the skin of the RGV players because that'll just mess with them. And that will be the keys to a victory out there in the tip of Texas. Let's do this. Let's do our match predictions. I still have no idea if I'm going to go with my current winning streak option or if I'm going to test it and go a different way, which will probably make Jacob very excited if I do that. But let's do this. Let's get our predictions. I'm going to start with Alan. Alan, what is your prediction for this match and who's going to be the key to the match?
I think it's going to be a 1-0 victory for Orange County. And I think Seaton finds the back of the net again. It's always nice to see him and DJ work together, and I think it's either going to be Seaton assisting DJ or DJ assisting Seaton. I think one of those is going to make it work.
Perfect. And before I go to Dylan to ask him his prediction, I'm going to throw it out there to anyone that is listening to us live. Let me know, do I keep my streak going and do I do my prediction, or do I test it and go with a different prediction? Put it in the comments, put it in Twitter, whatever, and we'll go with it. Dylan, what's your prediction?
Okay. Toros have scored 43 goals, 30 matches. They've conceded 56. They're probably going to score in this game. So 2-1 Orange County.
All right, and Jacob, let's go to you before I decide what I'm going to do.
Okay. I'm going to say, well, it's going to be a bit high scoring. I'm going to say 3-2 RGVFC, a late winner. I think RGVFC can do it if they just stay focused, of course. They can, and they can always play spoilers. For some strange reason, just like I said, they get in a weird mentality late in the season when they got nothing to lose. But other than that, I think things also do get heated under the lights and under, of course, humidity. Things will get heated, and we might see a couple of yellow cards and reckless challenges from both sides. And I think it will cause for an interesting match and maybe the ref losing the plot of the game as well.
All right. Before I make my prediction, I'm going to just throw it out to you guys. Dylan, should I keep my streak going or does it not matter?
Not only does it normally not matter, you don't even know if you should continue or not. So it's irrelevant.
Alan, what about you?
Alan
gives a thumbs up. Yes. For the people that are listening to the podcast, they have no idea what this is, Alan. Jacob, what about
I'm trying to drive them to the YouTube page.
Jacob, should I keep my streak going, or do you think I should make up a random prediction?
I mean, of course, I'd say make up a random prediction because, yes, I am a bit superstitious as well. Or as Michael Scott would say, I'm not superstitious. I'm a little stitious, though. From The Office.
Well, I think that we are estimating the RGV Toro squad. So,
well, let's say this. Andy, our super fan, says 3-1 OC. For my prediction, I'm going to say 5-0 RGV. I'm going to try and keep the streak going because it works. It works. No matter what Dylan says, the proof is in the record. The last 6 matches I've said 5-0 opponent, and Orange County has won each of those matches. It's going to keep going. I have faith in it. Sorry about that, Jacob. Make sure your listeners know that because I'm saying 5-0 RGV, that actually is a very bad thing on there. So we'll go with that. And one last thing I'm going to say is Logan, one of our other listeners that listens quite often, he says 2-1 to OC, and he's saying that Jones and Godoy will score in this match against RGV.
Do we think that Hashimoto makes an appearance? Do we know if he's fit?
They were talking about that on the YouTube chat. I think Logan and Andy were just sort of going back and forth about Koji. I think that is definitely an option. When you're looking at what Aiden Quinn does, he's probably one of the players that sort of can fit into that role. as a decent passer.
I mean, like for like, I think he's the closest option.
He is the closest option. Now, do I know, because we haven't seen him in forever, I don't know, is he missing? Is he still with OC?
He is.
Is he hurt? What's going on with him? But if he's available, I think he's the best like for an Aiden Quinn. So it depends on what Coach Braden Cloutier is thinking there. Bringing in a similar player or changing up the strategy and going with maybe, I think some of the other names I saw on the YouTube chat room, Connor Gordon, coming in or seeing something, Sebastian Dupre, the Pue, however you say that, Dylan, you say it better than me.
Just clear your throat when you go to say the last part.
Or I see Logan even saying, "Hey, let's do Francis Jacobs time." Or Chrysostomo. Chrysostomo is another option.
Remember how Jacob just told us that this team's going to go crazy and try and kill our players, and let's put a 14-year-old on? That's like why we wouldn't play him against Vegas.
15. Let's just say this. There's a lot of options there in the midfield, which I guess if you're going to have two players suspended because of yellow cards, the midfield's probably the best spot for it because you have a lot of options in there. So that's good. That's good to know as an Orange County fan. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be RGV winning 5-0. So sorry, Orange County fans.
Unfortunately.
Let's do this because I know if I open it up to soccer talk, I'm going to have to hear a bunch of stuff about Tottenham blowing a match today. So let's go. Let's just move right past that. Let's
Tottenham play today?
What? Huh?
Right,
penalties?
Right past that. Right past
I do.
that.
Yeah, Christian Eriksen, greatest player in the world. Huh? And Real Madrid. Back injury.
I think we should talk about Amora.
4-3 closest.
What happened to Luton Town?
More crackers, less fascists.
Oh, man. All right, random thought time.
Small club, no cheese room.
No, is there any other soccer talk besides English soccer that anyone wants to share with the world?
Yes.
Dylan.
The USL Players Association is going to be meeting up in a little over 10 days' time to work towards some goals that they're going to eventually work on with the ownership throughout the league for the 2020 season. So that's some big news. Hopefully it means that these guys are all getting really quality healthcare, some sort of base pay rate, just normal living things that people should probably have. And especially in a weird situation like lower division soccer where an injury could realistically spell the end of this pursuit. Probably be some good news if some sort of insurance and financial fallbacks available for these guys.
Yep.
Alan can talk more about unions. He's the
union rep, Mr.
Yes,
Union.
that is.
Any soccer news from you, Alan?
Carabao Cup's going on. Real Sociedad is winning. What the heck? Real Sociedad, I think it was I looked at one point, they were fourth in the Spanish league. Awesome. 1904 may or may not be playing a game. I don't know. It's coming up. I can't go. So that's it.
Talking about 1904, so Nisa, I think there was a lot of props given to Cal United Strikers for their promo video that they had going through social media recently. It actually looked pretty legit. I watched it. They also did a pretty good job of putting all their fans in one side of the stadium, so it looks like it's a full stadium of fans. I don't know what to think of another pro team in Southern California, especially Orange County. Another pro team that's going to utilize the same stadium as Orange County Soccer Club and sometimes OCFC. So interesting, but yeah.
The only bad news is that the field's going to get destroyed. It's kind of like, I don't want to say a retirement home, but much like how in the early 2010s, West Brom was just like a retirement home for old Manchester United players. Looks like Cal United's just like a retirement home for players that played for Orange County in 2017.
Okay. Jacob, do you have any random soccer stuff to share?
Yeah, I guess soccer stuff, I just would have to say, well, the one thing is the Crew are getting a new stadium, or at least they're going to break ground on that, which is pretty cool. Of course, that is Columbus Crew to be exact.
Isn't that in Austin?
What's up?
Isn't that in Austin?
Tree FC.
No, So Columbus Crew, of course, they got saved, and they still can't sell out a stadium, though. That's tiny. Although I shouldn't be talking because I'm a Dynamo fan. But that's besides the point. Yeah, and then now, of course, the Crew are going to – they got new management, apparently, and they're going to get themselves a new state-of-the-art stadium as well. And yes, of course, Austin FC broke ground on their new stadium with none other than Matthew McConaughey. So that's always fun, considering also the lovely beef that's also going on with them and Austin Bold, which is always fun to listen to because they go back and forth and they say that they love each other and then they go back and forth once again. So
is that some sort of pun because cows are big in Texas? Some sort of beef. And I had no idea you were a Dynamo fan, by the way. I had no idea. Just looking at you on the stream, could not tell you were a Dynamo fan at all. Let's my soccer news. Let's talk youth soccer. My son's team. For those of you that don't follow, I coach my son's team. It's 16 players. They're split into 2 teams of 8. We did friendly matches, scrimmages today. One of them played against a team in our league. The other one played against a team that is an AYSO team, an age group up. The team that played against the team in our league, they drew 3-3. The one that played in the league up or against the team a year older, my son was playing on that team. We won 8-4. My son was very proud at the end of it because I wasn't really keeping track of the score. I was trying to work more on the coaching. He said, yeah, we won 8-4. Oh, and by the way, I scored 5 goals. I'm like, okay, cool. Awesome. Great job. So props to my son, Kian, for scoring 5 goals in a friendly match against an AYSO team that was a year up from what we play in. By the way, just remember, my son plays a year up already. So my son's a 2012 kid. We were playing against kids born in 2010, and he scored 5 goals on them. So I don't know, is he a poacher or was he actually doing pretty good? He actually was doing pretty good out there.
Actually, there was an update from the game. He only scored 4. Harry Kane scored one of those.
Oh, man.
He's taking the piss.
Are you going to talk smack
Lucas
on
Moura obviously did not
on my
score in that game,
7-year-old
so we know it was
son?
your child.
You're going to talk smack on my 7-year-old son.
No,
I'm going to show
I'm talking smack about Harry Kane.
Oh, my kids look up to Alan and Dylan because they know I do a podcast with them. I'm going to share this audio with them so that they can feel.
No. I am outraged that he is poaching a goal from your son. Like, I am livid at Harry Kane.
Classless 26-year-old steals from a 7-year-old.
I think
he scored 5 goals, so that's the fun part of it.
I think the last time I was on this podcast, I think Dylan and Alan were talking about you being on the hot seat. So I guess that hot seat has ended.
What hot seat was I on, Dylan and Alan?
Oh, I'm sure our Samora out has been going on for a while.
Something.
Look, you have more job security than Powell does down in San Antonio, so don't you worry. You'll be just fine.
But no, I was proud of the boys. At our scrimmage today, I was trying to not because usually I like to try and tell them where they need to be. I was trying to actually not talk, let them figure it out. And they did a pretty good job of that. My son actually had a pretty cool goal where it was a cross in the air and he just lifted up his leg, got a nice touch on it, and it went right into the goal. And then there was another one where a player just gave him a perfect cross and he just tapped it in. So he got a couple easy goals, and there were a couple of them were more, he had to place the ball in the right spot, but props to him. Youth soccer. He plays for U9. So maybe a future OC player. Maybe he'll be the next Francis Jacobs. Who knows? Yeah, right. He'll get there. He'll play something. He'll play college or something. I know that. He loves the game too much. Let's do this. Random thoughts, because it's getting to one of those episodes. I can't tell where we are because of technical difficulties, late starts, whatnot. So who knows how long this episode is going to be. But let's get to our random thoughts of the episode. I'm going to start with eeny, meeny, miny, Jacob.
Awesome. Okay, random thought. I guess I got to go with this. I am a huge racing fan, and yes, last week was the Singapore Grand Prix for F1, but this week, of course, is none other than the Roval for NASCAR, which is at Charlotte, and they go, it's a road course in an oval. It's the infield road course, and you race out of it. It's very fun. The first year was exciting. Then they redid the track again and made the backstretch. They had a chicane. They made it even wider now. So that's going to be very fun to watch. And that's the final round of the playoffs, as they call it, as in they're going from 16 drivers to 8 drivers. Not necessarily all 43 drivers or 30 whatever drivers will be on the track, but only 8 will have a chance to win the championship in the end. So it's going to be very exciting because tempers are going to flare.
Go Brian Vickers. Alan, your turn.
Today is National Register to Vote Day. So
get your phone ready, ladies and gentlemen, because Alan's going to put his shirt up to the screen. You got to scan this.
Keep it on. Keep it on.
QR code.
Now he's got to take it off and hold it up.
No one wants.
He's not messy.
Or Ronaldo, I think he does that too. Or any Las Vegas Lights player.
Or Vegas.
My other side of my shirt does not have a creepy happy face. No, if you are registered to vote, it's always great to double check to make sure you're registered at the proper address. If you are not registered to vote and you're eligible, please take the time to register to vote. It's super important. Get your voice heard. Lots of things. It's not just about president, but things that are important, like your local school board races, are just as important to your everyday life and everyday life of your community. So I'm encouraging you guys, if you are vote eligible, get out there and register to vote.
I think Alan will hate me when I say this, but when it comes to like school board and these like sanitation manager, it's just whoever has the coolest looking name for the vote. So Dylan, what about your thought? I shut Dylan up with that comment. That's awesome.
Wow, man. I mean, I shouldn't talk trash because when someone runs unopposed, I vote for one of my cats. But that's because there's literally no other option. So
the seriousness that we're all so serious about voting, Alan. You love it, right?
Hey, I take it seriously when there's other people involved.
I think even Jacob said he votes for the coolest name on some of those things. He was at least laughing at it. Or I thought I heard it like a yep or something. Go for it, Dylan. Sorry.
God. Why is this the best way to spend my Tuesday nights? This week's poem, it's a poem for the 3rd week in a row. Because
is it about voting?
It's not about voting, no.
Okay.
But it's titled Mexican American Sonnet. It's by Ileana Rocha. It's wonderful, and I don't even know what else to say. I feel like anything I could say here is going to overcomplicate it, but I think it's super relevant and super beautiful. And yeah, honestly, read this poem. Mexican American Sonnet. That's the title of it. Ileana Rocha, Iliana Rocha. Give it a read. It's 14 lines. You have no excuses. I'm sorry, it's 18 lines. I can't count. So I'm not a math major or band teacher.
Trying to get us caught in with saying it's shorter than it actually is, Dylan. I see how it is. Alan, I'm still voting for the fun.
Yeah, well, I'm not compensating
out there.
I'm going to stop. I'm sorry.
My random thought, I actually want to, it's about birthdays. I'm going to say happy birthday to my wonderful, amazing, beautiful wife. We had an awesome time. Thanks for Dylan, Alan, for coming and celebrating, and Sarah, or Alan's wife, Sarah, for coming out also and celebrating with us. It was an awesome time. We had a great time out there, partying on a bus, rocking out to music, watching soccer, and then going to karaoke, and a bunch of awesome singing going on. So again, congrats or happy birthday to my wife. Also, my birthday is coming up. My 40th, I'll be turning 40. I know I don't look it. I know I look like I'm 22, but I will be turning 40 October 19th, which is the final home game for Orange County Soccer Club. I'm planning on bringing a nice, huge group of fans or people out to the bleachers out there on the goal line. For those of you that do go to the matches that don't sit on the bleachers, if you want to come stop by, say hi, introduce yourself to not just myself or any of the people I bring out there. Feel free to do so. I'm going to try and get them to chant along with Counterline Coalition. I'm going to try and sit them as close over there as we can. So hopefully we'll be loud along with them and have an awesome time. If you're not planning, or if you don't have tickets, come out to that match. Come celebrate with us. It'll be a fun time. Jacob, fly out here. There's probably some flights from Brownsville or McAllister or whatever the airport is out there. Mix something.
MFE.
Whatever it is. I don't know. Southwest flies out of there. That's all I know. Come on out.
I'm not going to Harlingen. I'll fly from McAllen, Dallas, and then Dallas to OC.
Oh, so
that's the way to do it.
You can do American. Yeah, come on out, celebrate my 19th, my 40th birthday with me on the 19th. I got to get the numbers right.
Apparently, you've already gone senile. You You don't know what's going on anymore.
And anyone else that listens, any other podcast host, maybe, hey, if you come out, maybe you'll have the secret inside path to the guest of the year on the Orange and Black Soccer Cast Awards. So just throwing that out there if you want to try to make your way out.
I heard Patrick Due is going to be there.
Is that with a C or a K? It's with 2 C's, isn't it? Like thick.
What? I have no idea.
Old you're so old.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Let's end this thing because we're just going to start going randomly, and it's now going to be like an hour and 45-minute podcast. Jacob, share with our listeners any information about how to follow you, listen to you, watch you, read you, whatever you want to share with our listeners.
All right. Well, my personal Twitter is JacobYoung456. Now you can watch or listen to Down in the Valley on YouTube as well at Down in the Valley Soccer, I believe. And you can follow them on Down in the Valley or Down in the RGV pod, something like that. I think it's down. Either way,
someone's getting fired today. Something like that. Look it
down
up.
In the just search up like Down in the RGV, and you should find us. It's really easily, and then of course, I guess that's really basically it. And we are on normally every Wednesdays, and most likely it is on Google Play, the iTunes podcast, which is like Apple, whatever. I always can't figure those things out.
You're into this tonight, Jacob, man. Apple, whatever. Look for us. Yeah, hey.
Exactly.
I love it. Let's go, Dylan. Dylan, how can people stalk you if they want to stalk you?
Please, no one stalk me. Someone remembered my name when I was leaving karaoke on Saturday night, and it scared the crap out of me. I was just trying to leave, not have people tell me that I'm really good at rapping. I'm on boat. You can find me on Twitter at OCSC_Dylan, or you can find me on Reddit /u/OCSC_Dylan.
Perfect. And how about you, Alan? How can people stalk you if they want to stalk you?
Oh, and this one time at band camp?
Wow.
Hey, Underwood 48 on the Twitter machine or whatever it's called.
Oh, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at DJ Ray Samora. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast. You can find us at OCSCpodcast.com. Facebook, you can find us there. Instagram, you can find us there at OCSC_SoccerCast. I think that's all we have to say about all this. Yeah, perfect. So for Jacob, our guest from down in the valley, Dylan, for Alan, this is Ray. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. And and thank you once again for Kevin Coleman for joining us on this episode. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, and we are out. Thanks to our sponsor, Ruffneck Scarves, official scarf supplier to the MLS, USL, and US Soccer. Get custom scarves for your group or team at ruffneckscarves.com.